The fact that Donald Trump as a convicted felon was elected is actually not unique to the Republican Party in this election cycle. There have been other felons who have been found criminally responsible for serious crimes, people who have pled guilty, who have been elected in other states as well. For example, in Monroe County, a commissioner who was elected there pled guilty to serious felony drug charges. In Indiana, a Republican who won a county seat has pled guilty to sexually assaulting his own daughter, a guy by the name of John Jessup. And in Missouri, they are introducing a law, the Republicans are, it's called the Trump Law, to allow felons to run for office in the state of Missouri. So the fact that Trump as a convicted felon was elected, that's now par for the course for MAGA Republicans, and they are normalizing it and encouraging it in their laws as well. The same way they are passing these abortion laws to take away women's right to choose, they're also passing pro-felon laws to allow individuals who, say, sexually assault their own daughters to run for office and win. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. Let's go to what? Let's go to Indiana first. Take a look at this article from The Guardian. Republican who won county seat pleads guilty to sexually assaulting his own daughter. John Jessup to resign as commissioner in Hancock, Indiana, and faces prison after guilty plea over incident in Las Vegas. And while this was all known to the Republican voters, they voted for this guy anyway, who pled guilty to sexually assaulting his own daughter in Las Vegas. I'm going to show you what went down in Monroe, Michigan as well in just a moment, but let's take a look at this story first. Days after winning elected office, a Republican politician in Indiana pled guilty to trying to sexually assault his own daughter in Las Vegas and now must resign his position. John Jessup, the commissioner of Hancock, Indiana, was charged in Nevada in June in connection with a sexual assault that occurred in January, reported the local Greenfield Daily Reporters newspaper and KLAS. But he remained in office as county commissioner. He ran as a Republican for the seat on the Hancock Council after people knew the allegations against him, a distinct elected body, and he emerged as one of the victors after collecting about 15,000 votes. Records show that Jessup, 49, pled guilty in Nevada court on November 13th to attempted sexual assault, which is a kind of felony that can carry multiple years in prison, according to state law. Indiana prohibits convicted felons from serving in state or local elected offices, though a decisive majority of its voters on November 5th helped vault Donald Trump to a second U.S. presidency just months after Trump was convicted of felonies. Therefore, Jessup must resign, unlike Trump, who has also faced multi-million-dollar civil penalties for a rape allegation that a judge determined to be substantially true. That's why now in these Republican states, like in Missouri, they are enacting laws to allow people like Jessup to run for office, even if they are felons, say convicted of sexually assaulting their own daughters. It goes on to say, Jessup on Monday told The Guardian that he must fill out certain paperwork before he can step down. The county council chair had mailed him those papers, but they had not immediately arrived, said Jessup, who is awaiting a sentencing hearing tentatively scheduled for April. According to what Jessup told the Daily Reporter, he was prepared for prosecutors to argue that he deserves between 8 and 20 years in prison. Jessup reportedly said his attorneys were going to seek a sentence of probation. Quote, "It's been my greatest honor serving the people of Hancock County, and I'm deeply ashamed and profoundly sorry for the shame I brought to the county," Jessup told the Daily Reporter. An affidavit obtained and reported on by the outlet said Jessup's criminal charges came after he flew to Las Vegas with the woman in January. The affidavit did not identify the woman, but in an article on Tuesday, the Daily Reporter wrote that Jessup was charged with assaulting his youngest daughter, Rachel, on a trip to Las Vegas intended to celebrate her 21st birthday. "I never dreamed it would have ended up the way it did," Rachel Jessup reportedly told the outlet. Multiple witnesses allegedly told authorities that John Jessup got Rachel, his daughter, intoxicated. Allegedly, as Jessup repeatedly said the slogan, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," she became so intoxicated she needed a wheelchair to get back to her hotel room. There, she said she recalled showering while clothed, and her next recollection was waking up naked as Jessup, her dad, sexually assaulted her, authorities wrote in the affidavit cited by the Daily Reporter. It should be noted as well, in states like Indiana, based on the abortion bans in their states, you would also not be able to get abortion care in situations like this in many red states. The woman reported the assault to police in just a few days, and authorities arrested him in Indiana in June before extraditing him to Nevada. According to the Daily Reporter, during an interview with investigators, Jessup acknowledged that he, quote, fucked up and spoke of suicide, yet also said he had not done anything criminal. Jessup posted a $100,000 bond to await the outcome of the case against him under house arrest in the Las Vegas area. In a statement to the Indiana news outlet, a Republican Party official in Hancock County denied that her organization had any role in Jessup's case until the legal process concludes or he resigns. In other words, the Republican Party was like, I guess it's just going to have to be up to him to resign. We're not involved in that decision. We take no position. Rachel Jessup, now 22 years old, told the Daily Reporter she was disappointed voters elected her father despite the charges against him. She reportedly said she spoke out publicly because I want it known it's okay to come forward. And while it's hard, it's good to share what happened. She also discussed her plans to pursue graduate-level degree work in social work. Hancock County is part of a region that includes Indianapolis, the state capital. It has a population of about 80,000 people. So the purpose here of sharing that one story with you as well is that when you're saying, how could this be? They elected Donald Trump. This is what they're doing, the Republicans across the country, as they've been radicalized to this Taliban style, okay with sexually assaulting behavior. It's horrific. By the way, we wish the victim well, and we're so sorry for what happened to you. It's absolutely horrific. We wish you well in your graduate studies. All right, let's go to Michigan, in the Republican area of Monroe County, who elected a convict. And here, the Republican convicted felon is going to be serving his term as an elected official from behind bars. He pled guilty. He's receiving an 18-month sentence for renting out land to an area that illegally grew marijuana and was selling it against the law there. Pled guilty, but ran while a convicted felon, was elected with 90% of the vote after being a convicted felon, and will be doing his job from behind bars. Here's the article. Newly elected County Commissioner Mark Brandt says he's eager to serve his constituents in Monroe County, Michigan, but first he has to serve time. Brandt is scheduled to report to federal prison in Morgantown, West Virginia on Friday, making this a Thanksgiving he will always remember, even if he'd rather forget. Brandt was sentenced to 18 months in a federal prison, fined $500,000, and agreed to give up more than $300,000 to the feds found in his Monroe home after he pled guilty to maintaining a drug-involved premises. It goes on to say that he was elected in 2012. He basically hid from the other commissioners what was going on, but it says this Republican was still elected with a staggering 90% of the vote. His popularity contributed to his decisive victory, but he also benefited from running in a district that's so overwhelmingly Republican that no Democrat dared challenge him by trying to get on the ballot before the filing deadline in April. Add to the fact that Brandt had been elected 3 times before, and that most folks had no idea he was in the feds' crosshairs, but apparently didn't care at all. He goes on to say, while I'm gone, he goes, in jail, he goes, prison, my phone will be available. I have somebody who will be taking my messages, and my fellow board members have all volunteered to handle all of my constituent concerns that I won't be able to handle. As for his salary of about $15,000, Brandt said he had no choice. By law, I have to take the payment while I'm in prison, while I'm not there. So he's going to be making money while in prison as well.
Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. Hey, I got to be honest with myself, right? It feels like I have to choose between having a great night or a great next day. That is until I found pre-alcohol. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. For example, after a fun night out with friends at like a local bar or wherever we go, I could still get up the next morning and hit the gym. And I'll admit, I was skeptical at first, but I tried it at a dinner party with some friends. The next morning, I felt great, ready to tackle the day, ready to do more videos here at the MeidasTouch Network. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I get the hype. Plus, with their GMO technology, ZBiotics is continuing to create probiotics that tackle the challenges of modern living. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use that code Meidas. It's MEIDAS at checkout for 15% off.
Finally, let's go to the state of Missouri. Proposed Trump law seeks to allow felons to run for office in Missouri. And this is the type of laboratory for autocracy that my friend David Pepper talks about, where they are cooking these horrific things to say, look, we're the pro-felon party now. Let's call this law the Trump law. For real, this is what they're calling it. The Trump law says if you're a felon, you should be able to run for political office. A Missouri representative is proposing a repeal of a state law that currently prevents citizens with a felony history from running for a local and state office. Republican, it's a Republican, of course, Representative Michael Davis of Belton, a suburb of Kansas City, pre-filed House Bill 318 on December 3rd. The bill, named the Donald J. Trump Election Qualification Act, would make it possible for those who have been guilty of a felony charge to run in a Missouri office if otherwise qualified. While Missouri allows convicted felons to vote after completing their sentence and to run for federal office, it prohibits them from becoming candidates for local and state offices. Davis calls this discrepancy within the qualifications of running for different offices. I believe that we should punish those who do wrong, but once they've completed the terms, we should allow individuals to reintegrate into society. They are citizens. They have the ability to work and pay taxes. And one of the aspects of being a citizen is being represented by your government and deciding who should represent you. Then it goes on to talk about Donald Trump's felony conviction. So let's be clear, folks. This is who the Republican Party is now. This is going on across the country. They're electing felons while they go and say they're the party of family values, and while the evangelicals support them, they are electing people who have pled guilty to sexually assaulting their own daughter. I mean, just think about that, while then also passing abortion bans to prevent access to reproductive health care. And you see these men who are pushing these laws, what's actually going on behind the scenes as well. And it's despicable and disgusting, and something that we need to call out, and we will call out here on the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.